Coming up this week, off screen.
Brian Cox is Churchill.
Chris Evans looks after the gifted.
We rock out with our dog out.
There's a visit to Slack Bay.
Things get painful with nails.
A-list comedians tell us about dying laughing.
The Holocaust is revisited in Destination Unknown.
Different lives will cross by the time it gets dark.
Stockholm gets some love.
And it's a good day to die.
All this to come and more off screen.
This is Off Screen. Off Screen. Off Screen. Off Screen. With the latest film news and reviews, this is Off Screen, the on-screen radio show.
Ooh, welcome to Off Screen. I'm Van Collett.
And I have returned.
You have returned, Mr. Allen.
Yeah.
And a quick thank you to John Colson for stepping in your absence, by the way. He did a great job.
He did, yeah. I listened a couple of times. I listened for like maybe 5 minutes for each episode.
Is it like seeing your girlfriend step out with another man? Is that what it was like when someone else is in your seat on the show?
Yeah, but I'm weirdly into that.
You're weirdly into that? Okay.
Yeah,
we all have our quirks.
Yeah, no, I was away. What did I do? On one of the weeks, I developed the word coffee-fee.
Coffee-fee.
That was mine. And then I ran for a member of Parliament under the guy's Lord Buckethead.
Really? I always
me the
wondered
whole
who that
time.
was. I did think there was something strangely familiar about him.
Yeah.
Right, so some film news to kick us off then before we launch into the first review of the week, and it's some sad stuff, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So Adam West died.
He did.
Or Adam Wee.
Adam Wee.
As we know from Family Guy.
Just hit me up. Just hit me like a train.
I think he hit everyone, because he is ostensibly... Sorry, can't even talk. It's my first day back.
It is.
He is everyone's first Batman.
He is everyone's childhood Batman. The thing is, as well, we've now lost Bond and Batman in a fortnight.
I was thinking about, we've lost our first Bond. Well, obviously not the first Bond, but our first Bond.
Our first collective Bond.
Yeah. And first Batman as well.
Oh, man. So the first Batman actor to die, the first Bond actor to die as well. It's not been a great time.
No, and people were badmouth in 2016 as being the celebrity killer. But,
I think they're just saving all the nerd cred for this year. That's what it is.
That's what it is, yeah.
That's totally
Anybody like more relevant for like pop culture, definitely.
Just please form an orderly protective circle around Stan Lee right now.
Oh man, I watched a video of Stan Lee earlier, just like an interview, and that's all I could think the entire time.
Yeah.
Just put him in a bubble.
So 88 years old, Adam West.
Yeah, he lived life. Obviously, he was Batman on TV, and then he was Adam West in Family Guy.
Adam West in Family Guy.
And I mean, obviously, amongst other things, and I always got the impression that he loved his fans and he loved doing what he did. And
the story originally goes that in the years immediately after being Batman, when he discovered how typecast he was, it angered and caused a bit of depression for him. And then eventually,
he always just like wanted to be current, didn't he?
He did, but he learned to embrace the Batman thing. He became the first meta actor, which we now take for granted. People like Hasselhoff and folks of that ilk. But Adam West was the first one who did that. Yeah. And, I mean, no one else would have done the Family Guy thing. That's an insane gag in the hands of anyone else.
And the delivery with all of his lines is just incredible.
Do you think it's going to be like Lionel Hutz on The Simpsons? They just retire that character?
I think so, yeah. Well, it's like with The Simpsons, with any actor who dies, like Mrs. Smith Crabapple.
Yeah,
it's not
true,
there anymore.
true. But, oh well, Adam West, our Batman. Oh, Batman, my Batman. But so we shall turn off the lights in the Batcave and leave solemnly in silence.
We'll put the little like cake thing over the red phone. And,
exactly. The Shakespeare head the cloth goes over the Shakespeare bust. And so sad. It's just you think of the Technicolor Marvel that was Batman. And,
same bat time, same bat channel.
I know that was But I had to talk to Paul Ross about it, but. And he did use the words Val Kilmer, pretty good Batman, Christian Bale, bit iffy.
Really?
Yes.
That's an opinion.
That is indeed an opinion.
First time ever that I feel like Val Kilmer up here, Christian Bale down there.
But, okay, so first review of the week, then let's talk about Stockholm My Love.
Is this about Stockholm Syndrome?
It is not about Stockholm Syndrome. It takes place in Doncaster. And I'm kidding. We had this last week with some film. I can't remember which one that was. Had a city in the title. And we thought it would take place in Scunthorpe.
But
Slough. Exactly. But no, so Stockholm My Love, which is is quoted as being the dramatic feature debut of director Mark Cousins. Now, it actually works as a sort of half performance art piece, half poetic reading. It follows Neneh Cherry in her film debut as she strolls around Stockholm for a day, verbally, effectively in voiceover form, reading out a letter to her father.
Does she take a chance on a buffalo stance?
She does not indeed, no.
Shame.
But it all has to do with an incident a year earlier where she accidentally hit a man with her car. We have a clip which is going to sort of set the tone of this for you.
To escape. That's what I want to do. I wish I could turn the clock back. I wish I could change. I wish I could tell you what's happened. Okay, here it goes.
So, yeah.
Has she done the music as well?
She's involved with the music side of it as well, yes. And believe me, that's the most interesting part of the film, but that's still a really low bar. This is one of the dullest experiences of my life. This is...
And you're friends with me.
I know, I mean, go figure. It is agonisingly directionless. It flounders from pretty much its opening frame to its closing reel. It is an infuriating exercise in artistic self-pandering, self-indulgence, just general self-adulation. It is utterly devoid of any artistic merit or value. It is the sort of film that exists purely for people at cocktail parties to talk about and try and make themselves sound clever. It is one of the worst experiences I have ever had in a cinema screen, and it was actually so bad that when the film was over, I turned to John Hearn and said the words, "I never thought I'd say this, but right now I honestly wish I'd watched Battleship again."
Do you know one of the worst experiences I ever had watching a film?
Go on.
I was watching the first Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I had a packet of chocolate flavour M&Ms. There was a lady sat in front of me, sporting like an Amy Winehouse style like beehive. Kind of thing. I opened up the M&Ms, but evidently opened the package too kind of hard, and the M&Ms went everywhere.
In her hair?
All up in her hair.
Oh.
And she turned around and she was like, "I don't know it was you." It was very embarrassing, and kind of marred the first film for me.
Well, I'm going to be honest. That you just told me, that had a plot. That story had a plot.
At least it got
a beginning, middle, and end. Yeah, it had a beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
And that, in a sense, is then a better work of non-fiction, or a better work of storytelling than Stockholm My Love.
I'm waiting for the film of that story to be optioned.
I would genuinely rather watch that than ever even think about Stockholm My Love again. Don't see Stockholm My Love. Do not indulge Mark Cousins. I mean, the best part is it's a dramatic feature debut. It's not really. It's literally Neneh Cherry taking a walk. And no. I mean, I came away from it thinking, you have forever ruined the song 7 Seconds. I am now only going to credit that song as having been sung.
That's the other one. Yeah, that's it.
I am now only going to credit that as being sung by Youssou Denor.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Good memory.
Thank you. It's the only song of hers I know. It's like Macy Gray. I only know
Do you
I Try.
not know Buffalo Stance?
No.
Took a chance on the Buffalo Stance.
Sorry, I do know that one.
You do
yes,
know
sorry,
one, yeah.
But yeah, so let's plug the podcast real quick.
Let's do it, otherwise I'll sing more Neneh Cherry.
You will.
2 songs that I know.
Yeah, download the podcast, or Kase will personally arrive wherever you are, and he will serenade you with Neneh Cherry songs, both of them. Both of the Neneh Cherry songs.
Neneh Cherrygram. Enterprise.
Do we have to do a duet for 7 seconds? Is that?
Oh, you know we do.
I think I can remember the French bits. Not entirely sure. Anyway, so podcast plug. Well, that's it. Download the extended podcast edition on iTunes, Acast.
You think you've done this before?
Yeah, I know. Acast, Deezer, TuneIn, and of course, Digital Bling for Acast users, because we pranked you with it last week. Admittedly, we stuck your picture in there with gone fishing. That was quite fun. Sorry? But so you get the trailers and you get links and all that stuff in the Acast podcast. If you're using the Acast app, or even going on the Acast site and just listening to us on there. It's quite cool. And it all moves along in sequence with the show.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. It turns it into like a weird little handheld TV show. But, yeah. So, let's talk about Gifted real quick in like 2 minutes or less. So, this is Mark Webb, isn't it? Who directed?
It is. We did 500 Days of Summer, did The Amazing, or Not So Amazing, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, should we say?
The Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
The Spider-Mans.
Phil Spider-Man.
The Spill Spider-Man. The Spill Spider-Man. The Spill Spider-Man. Right, okay, so
Gifted.
Exactly. So Mark Webb's got a different superhero this time. He's got Captain America. So Chris Evans is Frank. He is a freelance boat repairman in Florida, and he is the sole guardian of his 7-year-old niece, who is gifted. She is, as the title refers to, gifted. Her mother was a genius mathematician. Her mother, was a genius mathematician. Their mother, Lindsay Duncan, Chris Evans' mother, is also gifted. She is a genius mathematician as well, and it seems talent just runs through this family because the little girl's gifted as well. The school identifies her as gifted, and then because of a meddling principal who looks an awful lot like Alison Janney but isn't, winds up instigating a custody battle between Chris Evans and his mother over who is the more suitable guardian for the little girl. We have a clip.
I didn't want to go to this stupid school in the first place. And the boy in the next row acts inappropriately for someone who's a child.
I'm sorry, I'm still passive-aggressively ignoring you.
Other kids answer questions. They don't get into trouble.
You didn't get in trouble for answering questions. You yelled at the principal. Oh, you know what? You're going to find this interesting. So I Googled first graders who yell at the principal, and statistically, you're never going to believe how many kids do it.
How many?
9.
So the little girl is McKenna Grace.
Yeah, is that the little lass from Mad Men?
No, she looks a lot like her.
Don Draper's daughter?
Yeah, she does. She was in the Feud. She was in the
yes,
Betty and Joan series, Feud. Right, so this is, for all intents and purposes, Hallmark movie of the week type stuff, right? So, standard, you see it on Lifetime, you see it on Hallmark, one of those, I'm going to leave this town, but don't hit me because you have a drinking problem, kind of a TV drama. However, it's actually really well written. It's quite sharp and witty and clever, and the performances, every single performance in it is great. Chris Evans is in full Snowpiercer dramatic mode. Like every now and again, Chris Evans goes and does one of these little dramas. He did one with Jessica Biel years ago called London that I always thought was really underrated. But this is, I'm on fine dramatic form mode. Ladies marvel at my all-American loveliness. And that's what it is. Jenny Slate as the sort of love interest is very underused. Lindsay Duncan, I think, is great. You said you were a fan of hers as well.
Yeah, I really like her.
And McKenna Grace, absolute breakout star of this. I think Mark Webb as the director is nothing really to sort of marvel at here. But I do think the writing is what really makes this work. I'm trying to find, where is the...
So trying to find the name of the writer.
I'm trying to find the name of the writer because I've forgotten it. Tom Flynn. Yeah, Tom Flynn, who, as far as I know, is a relative unknown. And, yeah, I really... I say he's written really, really low-rent stuff here. But, yeah... I was a big fan of this. It's middle of the road, but it's really high-end, enjoyable middle of the road stuff, and I'm all for that. That's if there's
just like an engaging drama.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I laughed an awful lot. I got a little misty-eyed at the end. Got to admit, it does drop the ball ever so slightly as it sort of tries to reach a conclusion because its ultimate conclusion comes about through a mechanism that there is no setup for whatsoever. But other than that, yeah. Actually a win. Not gifted, but mostly blessed.
With the latest film news and reviews. This is Offscreen, the on-screen radio show.
Come with me if you want to live. And we're back. You loved that, didn't you?
That was new. That was shiny. I like that.
Yeah, well, I sent you a bunch while you were off, and I noticed you didn't reply. I'm just saying.
That's what they were.
Did you? I wonder why I sent you 5 audio files randomly.
Yeah, I thought it was a mistake. But I think it's a mistake when most people just text me anyway.
Fair enough.
I'm sorry. I'll listen to... In fact, no, I won't. I'll just sit here and just have them as a surprise.
There's another new one coming up, so don't look at the screen.
I can't wait.
Okay, so let's rock out with the dog out then. Let's talk about Rock Dog, which I know you've been looking forward to for a long time, because purely for the naff factor, I've been taunting you with this film for about 6 months. So for the last 6 months, I've been periodically sending trailers and posters and things from the movie Rock Dog to Kase through WhatsApp, just taunting him about the fact that we are eventually going to have to review this. Okay, this is pretty much exactly what you think it is. It is this low-rent, kind of lower-scale CG animated feature.
With an incredible cast.
With a strangely incredible voice cast. Which is, speaking of animation, we need to talk about My Life as a Courgette later, because I need to break you as a person, and that film will do it. And it has Nick Offerman in it. Anyway, so in the English version. Right, so this is about a dog, would you believe?
A rock dog.
a dog who he lives in like the Himalayas kind of a location, which happens to be next to a city, and he's being trained by his father, who's J.K. Simmons, to basically protect the sheep of their village from wolves who operate like mobsters. Right, and the head of the wolves is voiced by Lewis Black. So the idea is that one day our rock dog is hit on the head by a radio that falls out of a plane. He then hears rock music for the first time, discovers that he really wants to be a rock musician, and journeys to the city in search of Angus Scattergood, who is this I don't know, kind of a Keith Moon type.
This picture makes this cat look like Andy Warhol.
He looks like Andy Warhol,
cat.
He looks like Andy Warhol, but he's like a parody version of Keith Richards or any one of the classic rockstars, and he's voiced by Eddie Izzard in full rockstar mode, you know?
Amazing.
Yeah, and this is it, and the whole thing is to get Angus Scattergood to teach him how to be a rock star. I'll tell you what, here's a clip of them running away from a crowd.
People back there.
No, you run with me.
Why are they all chasing us?
Because I am Angus Scattergood.
What? I knew you were Angus Scattergood. Hey, what do you think about maybe becoming a music teacher?
I'm not going to be a music teacher, mate.
Will you just think about it?
Look, when I count to 3, you go off to the right and I'll carry on this direction, okay? 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Can't do it.
You're still
I'm gonna stick with you.
Big twit.
Right, yeah, so you know what you're kind of getting from that, and like I said to you, I could listen to Eddie Izzard's voice all day, and it's faintly amusing, you know, hearing him do this. It's about the only amusement you get from a film that otherwise is really shoddily put together, really ramshackle, and...
You say that.
Yeah.
You say that, Bank Honor. However, Sam Elliott does voice a character, presumably a yak, called Fleetwood Yak.
He does, and you know what that character is? And this is one of the issues, the kind of film we're talking about. He's basically doing his role from The Big Lebowski. And you sort of thinking...
Oh, the stranger.
The stranger. He's playing the stranger. And in exactly the same way, he narrates the beginning and end the way he does The Big Lebowski. And you sit and think, now that joke just about works for me, but who's that there for? Because, for one thing, for a movie called Rock Dog, it's surprisingly devoid of rock.
Yeah, but there is dogs.
There are dogs. Their version of rock is very strange, and yeah, I mean, for instance, there is a Foo Fighters song included at one point when the character is leaving home.
So there are actual.
There are two.
There are famous songs.
There are 2 famous rock songs in it.
The rest is just like some guys written them in Logic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they are, you know, all-purpose, you know, subpar DreamWorks rock. Musical.
Amazing.
Right, it plays like Zootopia meets Sing, if you can imagine that.
Yeah.
But with the quality of neither. And
but is it better than Top Cat the movie?
Oh God, yes, it's better than Top Cat the movie.
I mean,
but again, low bar.
That's faint praise, isn't it?
But is it better than Top Cat Begins? the pseudo sequel. I mean, yeah. That's the thing. It will work for very, very young kids, but I think that's a stretch. I think it might even bore them. It is very low rent, despite the caliber of the voice cast, which includes like Mae Whitman and Lewis Black and Keenan. Keenan is in this,
and Georgia Garcia. From Lost.
Yes.
Hurley from Lost.
And you just think, why are you people in this? And you come away and you just think, why did I watch this? And you know what? We all deserve to be punished. Give me some news, please. Cheer me up, Mr. Allen. What we got?
Have we I mean, obviously, I've been away for a couple of weeks. I want to talk about a certain Senor Spielberg film that's coming out, and I don't know if you spoke about this last week.
The Papers.
Did you guys talk about it last week?
We did talk about it, because didn't it got a lot of cast? I can talk about it again. It's a bit slow news week.
We'll talk about it with me, because I know that our boy Bradders is in it.
Yes, Bradders is in it, yes.
Yeah, so now I just wanted to talk about the fact that Steven Spielberg was like, right, I'll get two of the most beloved, famous actors of their of all generations, really, and then I will pad the cast with every great person from TV.
Is Alison Janney in there?
No, but...
She's not, strangely, is she? You said, how is Alison Janney not in this cast?
Bradley Whitford from West Wing is in there, Zach Woods from Silicon Valley is in there.
As soon as you get Bradley Whitford and Zach Woods in the same show, is that not the same movie? Is that not your perfect movie?
Then you put Alison Brie from Community in there, put David Cross from pretty much every show and Arrested Development in there.
Everything You Love, yeah.
Yeah, but I've just realised... David Cross and Bob Odenkirk are in the film together. That's amazing.
Is that Mr. Show? Are they
Mr. Show, yeah. Sarah Paulson from All the Horror Story. And
so this is actually coming out sooner rather than later. This is the end of this year on limited release, and then it's getting a wide release
12th of January.
Smack in the middle of sort of Oscar season, isn't it?
Yeah, because everyone kind of saw that cast and were like, ding!
Like, just start sharpening the Oscar envelopes now and get it done with.
Yeah, it's a very strange film, isn't it? Because he was prepping Ready Player One to be his next, and he's already filmed that, wrapped on that.
There's a lot of post-production on that.
There's so much post on that he was like, right, I'm going to squeeze it in the film.
I can't wait to see the VR tie-in that they come up with for that one, because that's clearly got to happen.
It's definitely going to happen. But before that one, he was actually going to do another film with, surprise, surprise, Mark Rylance, who is not in this film, weirdly.
I'm devastated by that news.
I'm fine. What was it? The Kidnapping the Pope film.
Yes, it's another one, yeah.
Edgar Matoro or something.
Something like that.
And that had Oscar Isaac and Mark Rylance.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it should just have like a really great Pope name. It's something to do like kidnapping a Pope. Pope Star, Pope on the Run.
Pope Star, never stop, never praying. That could
exactly. Work. Yeah, but that was supposed to be his next one, and then apparently this story was far too good to pass up.
I can understand that. It sounds
such
amazing.
A good cast
it really does. So let's do a quick review of Churchill then.
Yeah, because we don't want to wait too long for the next Churchill film that comes out in January, so we've got
another one. Is it just me,
wait.
Or is this now a requirement of all British actors? Once you reach a certain age and weight, you have to play Churchill.
You don't even have to reach the weight. I mean, have you seen that picture of Gary Oldman as Churchill?
Well, yeah, makeup effects. I mean, when is it going to be Stephen Fry's turn? That's what I want to know, because he's got to be next 5 years tops. Yeah. And then, of course, we wait another 15, 20 years, Tom Hardy will do it. And, any day now, Mark Rylance will have a pop. And
we have got Tom Hardy news later.
We are good. Right, so now it's Brian Cox's turn, the actor, not the astronomer. So the first Hannibal Lecter, the X-Men villain, that Brian Cox. He's old Winston himself. The idea of this is set 96 hours before D-Day. You've got John Slattery as General Eisenhower.
Great casting.
Great casting. Now, I'm going to get to that because this is one of the best cast movies you will ever come across, and that is both a good and bad thing.
I don't know, we've just been talking about Rock Dog.
Yeah, but that's both a good and bad thing in this case.
Okay.
You've got James Purefoy is King George, so King's Speech. Yeah. You've got Miranda Richardson is Clementine Churchill, she's his wife. Ella Purnell is his new assistant. The idea is that Churchill thinks that the D-Day invasion is going to lead to massive casualties. He doesn't think it's going to work. He thinks it will destroy the British war effort. He's trying to come up with a plan of his own. He's struggling. He's having a crisis of his own self-worth, because what is the point of me being the leader of Britain when the men I send off to die, I just sit behind a desk. What good am I? And in the meanwhile, he's having his own marital crisis as well in the background, and his assistant is engaged to someone who's also a part of the invasion. We have a clip.
The Cabinet Office has sent you a new secretary. Could you say hello?
Why do I need a new secretary?
Because you ate the last one. Helen Garrett.
My dear, there's no need to drop to the floor, my dear. I'm not royalty.
Sorry, it's such an honour to meet you, Mr. Churchill, sir. My mother and I are huge supporters.
Ah, yes?
Yes. Well, you're the one, sir. The one who'll see us through. You won't give up on us.
My dear Miss Garrett, that's why I fight on every day. And now I must go forth and do just that.
Brian Cox there, who, depending on which point in the film you're watching, either sounds exactly like Winston Churchill or weirdly like Alan Frank. So, one or the other. Right, okay, it is brilliantly cast. The only problem is the brilliant casting comes with a level of writing that only requires that cast to deliver the kind of thing we always see them do. So, do you like John Slattery in Mad Men?
You know I do.
Of course you do. So guess what? He's playing General Eisenhower like Roger Sterling from Mad Men. Do you like Miranda Richardson?
I'm a bit.
Guess what?
Partial.
She's doing that standard Miranda Richardson performance, and you come away from it, and like James Purefoy turns up, and it's really just a sort of parodic imitation of the King's Speech role, and you just come away and you just think, this hasn't surprised me in any way, nor has it particularly bored me. I've kind of just sat there stone-faced for, hour and 40 minutes, and that's really it. There is no narrative arc to it whatsoever. However, it's built entirely around the idea of character arcs. So they seem to have mistaken one arc for another, come up with a movie that is basically just about this guy's moods, and they've sold that as a Churchill drama. And you sit there and think, why can't we just have a biopic? That'd be a lot more interesting. This doesn't really sell it to me. You do come away and just think, I feel like I've kind of wasted my time because... I know how history went. I knew that none of this stuff, when he suggested it was going to happen, I knew that D-Day went this way and not that. And I came away just thinking, I feel like if you'd asked me sight unseen to tell you how a Brian Cox Churchill movie was going to go, I'd have given you exactly what was in that movie. And that is, to be honest, quite disappointing.
With the latest film news and reviews, this is Offscreen.
And we're back, Mr. Allen. So,
hi there.
Your favourite bit now is the box office top 5.
Let's do it.
Number 5.
Take That, Wonderland Live from the O2. So this was Take That, who once were 5, then we were 4, then we were 3, and at some point I think it's just going to be Guy Barlow again.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, live from the O2.
No, you say that. Mark Owen will never leave Take That. Mark Owen loves Take That.
Mark Owen, he's great.
You know when they did that? I mean, for the record, by the way, neither of us have seen this film, so we're talking nonsense now. Neither of us have seen this performance. But when they did that documentary that wound up being their launch for their reunion, 10 years ago,
when it became a man band,
yeah,
boy band.
The thing I remember about that documentary is just how gleefully and childlike Mark Owen's love for Take That really is.
Yeah, he loves it.
I mean, I swear at one point he says, "I hope there's sandwiches. I really like sandwiches." And I'm just like, "Wow, you behave like my brother-in-law. It's weird." But
somebody get Mark Owen a sandwich.
Yes, someone get Mark Owen a sandwich.
I like to think that he only has like Nutella sandwiches or marmalade like Paddington.
Okay, so neither of us have seen Take That,
but we do like Mark Owen.
But we do like Mark Owen, and everybody loves a sandwich.
Number 4.
You've been waiting so long. So I have still not seen it.
Oh man,
but this is Baywatch.
Oh, I thought you would have just carved out an afternoon in the last 5 weeks to just run out and cash. Well, 2 weeks, sorry.
I've had no time. I've been running Jeremy Corbyn's campaign and everything. And
that's why you've visibly aged.
Yeah, exactly.
But right, so Baywatch, I loved. I know a lot of critics. Well, nearly all critics. In fact, every critic except me hated. I loved it. I really did. This is Jump Street funny. And I'm sorry, but 13 people went with me. 13 friends went with me. All loved it. I took a checklist on the way out. Everybody loved it.
Was this checklist just like boobs? Put a tick. Penis gags.
Exactly. I mean, I did think I had a lot of fun with it. It was literally a laugh-a-minute affair. Even the reveal of the title of the film is enough to have you laughing, and that's really something. The cast are on fine form. Alexandra Daddario gets nothing to do, but she looks pretty doing it, which is arguably the purpose of Baywatch. But at least they go a little bit meta with that and actually spin that around and have the whole. Actually, now we're going to exploit the guys more than the girls, and. Weirdly, you've then got actually this brilliantly drawn female hyper-villain, and that works as well.
I commend it for that.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed it. It was... Yeah, it was exactly what you want a Baywatch movie in 2017 to be.
I am going to see it, but I'm going to get like a full frontal lobotomy first, and I might enjoy it a little bit more.
Number 3.
I don't care what you say about these films.
The music is
incredible.
It's great, isn't it?
You could sit there for 2 hours with just about playing black screen. Have the time of your life.
That's it. When the trailer came out and they did the bit, they showed like the footage of him like leaping from rooftops and then leaping from ships. When they did the quick cut and they do that whole dum 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 dum. Yeah. Right, you think, oh man, I really wish these movies were great again.
Oh, this is Pirates Caribbean. If you didn't know.
Oh yeah. It's Pirates 5. Nobody asked for this.
That's the American title.
The American title. The British one is literally nobody asked for this. But you weren't here when we did the review. There was a strange...
I've still not seen it. Like I'm going to see it next week with my wife because it's going to be fun.
Strangest thing about the title change is before they cut away to the title...
doesn't someone actually say...
Javier Bardem literally says, "Dead men tell no tales," and then it cuts away to Pirates of the Caribbean, Salazar's Revenge. You're like... Well, that was a perfect setup, completely wasted. And you know what? That weirdly sets the tone for everything that comes afterwards. And it's about as uninvolving and uninteresting as it's been for the last 4 movies, noticeably not 5, because I quite like the first one. You know, when it was fun and frivolous.
I love the first one.
The first one is great.
I didn't particularly mind the last one as well.
I think most people I know have forgotten it, so congratulations on being the first.
I'm not saying that I love it, and I'm not saying that I particularly remember it, but I remember when I was watching it, I was thinking, this is okay.
I am prepared to issue a caveat on the Pirates series, though, based on my dear 20-year-old neighbour, who has literally grown up with the Pirates series, and loves the sequels, and therefore loved the 5th one as well. Yeah. So I am prepared to say, if you're one of those people who has grown up with the series, or you're someone who thinks the sequels are still fun... then you are in good stead here. If you are like you and I, where the first one's really the only great one, then this is not going to reignite that your love of the series.
I'm a little bit jealous. I mean, imagine being like, 8 or 9 when the first Pirates came out, and that would have been like your Raiders.
That kid has grown up with Transformers. Just imagine that. Imagine growing up in a world where the Transformers... You're a kid when the Transformers series is out. That's what you think the Transformers series is.
Let's move on.
Number 2.
Are you my mummy?
Go on.
The Mummy.
The Mummy.
That was weird. Well, I thought you were going to have some Brandon Fraser.
I then thought, oh no, I can use Christopher Eccleston Doctor Who for this. So, why not?
Because that's what you get up in the morning for.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's my favourite Doctor. Anyway, The Mummy, which is an ungodly waste of time. It is a film that starts promisingly. It actually does update the concept quite nicely. The first sort of 45 minutes, great fun. They set up, you have Tom Cruise playing a sort of night and day kind of character. You have Jake Johnston as the sidekick. You have Annabelle Wallis is actually a pretty engaging, hanging a lantern love interest kind of a thing. Yeah. But and the new Mummy actually does work. The new Mummy arguably is the best thing about the film because she actually gets character development that Arnold Vosloo could only dream of. Unfortunately, then Russell Crowe turns up.
Yeah, this is what I've heard. It kind of unravels a little bit
about
when
the point
Dr.
that,
Jekyll turns up.
Exactly, about the point that Tom Cruise starts reenacting scenes from American Werewolf in London. Literal scenes from American Werewolf in London. I am talking about the bathroom scene, if you can remember.
That's good, because my favourite Cruise is still Lestat.
There you go. About the point he starts doing that, and then Russell Crowe turns up and gives it the big Ray Winston Mr. Hyde, the whole movie just dies on the vine, and you just sit and think, what on earth? And it stops making any kind of sense. Funnily enough, we used I knew there was a thematic reason why we'd use Doctor Who as the button, because that thing that Doctor Who does where he comes up with a solution to a problem that makes no logical sense, and they just explain it through it's called, Terry Pratchett called it make it up as you goism. Right. That's what the Mummy does. The Mummy literally does that. Tom Cruise's character literally comes up with his own make it up as you goism, which they then justify as the attempt to carry this series on, and you just think, no, don't do that. Let this die now.
Is that how it wraps up and they cast it off to Dark Universe? Whatever it's been called?
I have no idea where this is going, nor am I particularly interested.
Number 1.
That thing is so rad.
It is, isn't it?
I love it so much.
I didn't like it the first couple of times I heard it, actually. But yeah,
that theme.
I
that was the one thing about not Justice League, but you know what I mean.
Just call it Justice League. That's what it was. Justice League 0.
0.5. Yeah,
Batman Superman was Justice League.
Exactly.
0,
that was my favourite part of that film, and I don't know what my favourite part of Wonder Woman was because I just thought it was great.
Yeah, so you saw Wonder Woman?
Yes,
yeah, you did. You texted me, didn't you? Yeah. And Patty Jenkins, she nailed it, didn't she?
She really did.
She really did. And she brought Claire Underwood along for the ride. I mean, goddamn.
Oh my god. As soon as I saw Buttercup, I was like,
Yep, so loved the hell out of it. I think it is the first genuinely great DCEU movie. They took them 4 attempts. They finally got one right.
Undoubtedly.
Gal Gadot is terrific in this. I didn't know she had this in the tank.
You see, I always thought that she did. I just think what she's been in has not given her any room or any... Just anything. I mean, she's pretty in the fast films, and she's
the whole role, isn't it?
Like, she's not given anything to do, really.
It's true, but yeah, I liked her. I like the cast, the supporting cast. I like Chris Pine. I like Saeed Tagmaoui.
Like them all.
A great cast, an entertaining film, a film I actually smiled at, which for a DC movie is unheard of. Came away thinking, right, can we sack Zack Snyder now and give Patty Jenkins control of the DCEU in that way that Zack Snyder... I mean, he's busy anyway. I mean, he's taken a step down. Yeah. While he's off the deck, why not let Patty Jenkins run it?
Well, right now, we've got Joss.
Yeah,
obviously.
Joss Whedon's taken the reins for a bit.
Doing the reshoots and whatnot.
Which is about the same as giving it to another feminist icon anyway, so... yeah. But yeah, I loved Wonder Woman. Clearly you did as well.
I really did, yeah. It's definitely going to be up there at the end of the year. It's definitely the top 3 as far as superhero films for the year goes.
Yeah, literally no one expected this as well.
I call bull on that.
Do you know?
Because I've said to you several times, I think it's going to be good.
You're calling it? Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah.
But I can't say that about any of the future.
No. I do think it's going to be business as usual when Justice League rolls around.
Yeah, I'm more confident for Aquaman. I still think Aquaman's going to be fairly decent.
Yeah, I think The Flash is kind of that's dead on arrival.
God, just hire someone. I'll direct it at this point.
Why bother? Just have...
Just get Grant. Just get Grant.
Get Grant to turn up. Bring Stephen along. We'll have him.
We've got Cisco.
Yeah. Okay, so let me talk about Whitney real quick. Which is Nick Broomfield's documentary about Whitney Houston. This premiered at DocFest over the last weekend. It's out properly this week nationwide. This is the story of Whitney Houston. She's been given the Amy treatment. You know, the full chronicle biopic. It suffers with comparisons to Amy because obviously that was such an iconic documentary a couple of years ago. We have a brief clip.
They had a vision for a pop artist.
They wanted to present her as the princess.
I did not go into the studio wanting to make a pop album.
She was closer to her dad.
But Whitney had the career that her mother always wanted.
So I go. Whitney was from the hood.
Bobby was street. They just had a chemistry that worked for them.
I'll think of you.
Robin loved her, cared for her, was a friend to her.
Success doesn't change you. Fame does.
This is the weird thing. I'm not a fan of Whitney Houston.
I'm not, and I will tell you in the podcast extras why.
Okay. Well, I'm not a fan of Whitney Houston. In the same way, I was never particularly bothered about Amy Winehouse either. And then the documentary rolled on, and you think, actually, it's a superb documentary. This has very much the same thing going for it. You think, actually, yeah, this is superb. And it says a lot about the quality of the documentary that it manages to hold my interest despite having no interest in the actual subject. In this case, you've got something that is obviously quite comparable to Amy in that, you know, there is a toxic relationship at the centre of it. There are substance abuse substance abuse problems, and there's a talented artist around whom all of this revolves. The film doesn't sensationalise in any way, although it doesn't shy away from the tabloid-friendly aspects. It handles them with real care and delicacy, though. So, for instance, when you get to Bobby Brown, which you kind of have to, because he's an integral part of it, they do not shy away from the historically murkier parts of Bobby Brown, although it's so well drawn by the people in Whitney Houston's life that you come away from it thinking, wow, I never knew that aspect of this story, and that actually really does paint it somewhat differently for me now. Yeah. Okay, I kind of get it. I never knew, for instance, that he was much younger than her. Never knew that. And also, there's just a level of behaviour in Bobby Brown that just is amusing to actually see unfold on screen.
It's his prerogative, wasn't it?
It was his prerogative. It's when you see the bad boy of rap Bobby Brown in his prime. You just think, really, that was considered cool. There's an exploration of Whitney Houston's standing as regards the black community and how they responded to it. So, for instance, she was put out initially as America's sweetheart, but sort of delivered as a black singer doing effectively white music. And I didn't know this aspect of the story, that there was pushback from the black community, that there were public booings at awards ceremonies for her winning awards and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
And that her retaliation from this was to lean into her black culture. And you think, okay, that's an incredibly interesting idea that I never knew about. I can't help but think, years from now, we could probably get a Rihanna starring biopic in the works that would probably work along the same lines as What's Love Got to Do with It.
That is a great film.
It is, isn't it? Larry Fishburne as Ike Turner.
Live a fish.
Come on. That is...
Is it Angela Bassett?
Angela Bassett. And Angela Bassett and Larry
Just get
Fishburne.
her to be Whitney.
I know.
Get her to be, like, older Whitney.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But Rihanna is younger. Definitely Rihanna is younger.
I'd see that, yeah.
I'd see that movie. But this is the thing. It's also, in a strange way, it takes the time out here and then to actually include some kind of nice, funny moments as well. So we meet, for instance, Whitney Houston's own actual bodyguard, who tells the story of the development of the Bodyguard movie, in which he then turns around and says, actually, that film kind of got it right to a lot of the extent. However, there were two problems. One, I've never been shot at, and secondly, I never made love to her. And you think, you know what? Fair play. And that guy, it does prove to be quite an animated personality, and very, very needed given the sort of the morbid nature of the story that's unfolding on screen.
I've not seen that film for years.
I watched it this afternoon on my way back.
No, I know you did. How does it hold up?
Actually, still works. And you do watch it and you do think, actually, yes, I can see Kevin Costner has always been a movie star, even for the 20 years that we didn't allow him to be. So, yeah. But this is the thing, you look at Whitney, which is a superb documentary. It's exceptionally well crafted. It is riveting. It is both a lavish tribute and a probing insight at the same time. And you do think, I am fascinated by how you have made this compelling. You have made it entertaining. It is also quite tragic, and not in the way that you expect, which is obviously, Whitney Houston's death. But there are other tragedies within it. There is a great love story running through this that you may or may not have known about, that really tugs at the heartstrings and makes the end credit and the end credit reveal of where everyone wound up just absolutely devastating, and also paints at a potential future that could have been. And you think, well, this is fascinating to me. It's not as knock you out of your chair, blindingly amazing as Amy was, but it's a good second place.
With the latest film news and reviews, this is Offscreen, the on-screen radio show.
Are you annoyed that I compared them? Is that what it is?
I don't know what I am. I'm always annoyed about something, so let's just say that. Yeah.
It's just a curmudgeon. Okay, let me talk about Destination Unknown really quick then, and then you give me some news. Destination Unknown is a film about Holocaust survivors. It's this really moving... It's really moving portrayal of... really interesting look at survivors, obviously elderly people who lived through the Holocaust. And it does ask the question, which, to be honest, I will admit, I had actually wondered myself in the past, which is, if you went through this as a child, if you went through the Holocaust as a child, how does that... obviously, it's going to affect the rest of your life, but how do you reconcile that with... living in the world? To what extent do you let it define you? And that is the central thesis of this film, which genuinely looks at that issue as regards the people who actually survived it. We have a quick clip.
My name is Ed Masberg. When the war started, I was 13 years old. I had parents and 2 sisters, grandparents, uncle, cousins. I am the only survivor.
Never spoke about it in the house. Never wanted to talk about it before because it was too painful to tell it to anyone you loved. And if the children were born, grew up, never knew anything whatever happened to me.
Right, this is directed by Claire Ferguson. As far as I know, she was a technical bod on films like Eyes Wide Shut and things like that, and she's making an effort here with a film that actually will devastate you. It is really something. You can hear the tone from the clip. It's very much that sort of an atmosphere to it. It is a sorrowful, very respectful documentary. It does... I mean, there's a point made very early on in which one of its subjects says, I can't remember... I might not remember what I had for breakfast this morning, but I will remember every day of the 5 years I spent in that camp. And that's the message that you carry through this film. It's a very powerful, very moving piece. It's a very compelling look at these people who have not overcome it, but they have found a way to basically move on with their lives while still holding this absolutely abominable experience as a part of themselves. And I say it's captivating. It is utterly unflinching to what you stare at it wide-eyed, just gobsmacked, like, I cannot believe these people lived through this. And the stories they tell, the involvement of Oskar Schindler, and because that is obviously a big part of this, the actual plot of Schindler's List comes up from the people who actually survived it. And I think, wow, this is really something. I mean, everybody needs to see this. This is one of those, like when we reviewed Denial, I think one of the comments one of us made was that it should actually be shown in schools. I think this is one of those films that should be used as an educational work, that actually should be used to teach children about the Holocaust. I think it has a genuinely integral place in that discussion. I think it's something that should be remembered and respected thusly. But I absolutely... I can't say I loved it. It wasn't, because it's not something you enjoy. It is something you experience. You don't enjoy it, though. You experience and you absorb what unfolds on screen. It is really something, though. I mean, definitely check it out. But so, give me something newsworthy.
Something newsworthy.
Worthy.
Let's talk about this because it's just open on my MacBook computer.
Okay.
On my Macintosh. So Melissa McCarthy is going to be in a film called Margie Claus.
Margie Claus?
What do you think that's about? Just by that title.
Is this going to be the gender-inverted sequel to Fred Claus?
It's not too far away from Fred Claus. In the way that something happens to
Santa,
to Father Christmas, because, we are in England, so Father Christmas to us. Yeah, he is indisposed. Something happens to him, so someone else has to take the reins.
And this is Mrs. Claus, I think.
This is Mrs. Claus or Margie Claus.
Is this not the plot of Arthur Christmas, or it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Arthur Christmas or Fred Claus, or I've forgotten what it's called, but there is a film with Anna Kendrick in the works, which is very similar.
Yes, there is.
Isn't she like his daughter?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, she's like Slacker daughter.
Yeah,
of course.
And then she's like take up the family business, and this is going to happen with Melissa McCarthy because
she's going to co-write as well with Ben Falco.
Oh, it's Ben Falco.
Yeah,
is he going to direct?
He's going to direct, I think, and So
I like Ben Falco.
I do as well. I think he's very funny.
Yeah, I mean, I'll pretty much go see any Christmas film. I'm going to say that. I mean, I won't really do it by choice, but my wife will force me to do it.
We still need a very Harold and Kumar 3D Christmas 2, Christmas Boogaloo.
I love that film. I
love Harold and Kumar's 3D. I watch it every Christmas in 3D. I just think it needs to be done. Can I talk really quickly about By the Time It Gets Dark?
If you wish.
Thank you. Which is a Thai movie set in the 70s about a student activist who basically goes through a series of career changes and about the different lives that she comes into contact with along the way. It is really something... there's a surrealist element to it. There is another worldly quality. It is something that will really chill you, something that you don't, again, like Destination Unknown, you don't enjoy, you experience, and you do come away and just think, wow, that was a strange, unsettling kind of adventure. And it's something that will leave you pondering. You may not entirely get it, but you will come away thinking, I wasn't bored and I didn't dislike that. So actually,
didn't hate it.
But it's really something. It's really, really well crafted as well. It's written and directed by Anocha Suwichakornpong.
Say again?
Anocha Suwichakornpong.
Great name.
And a really long one as well. But really gorgeous looking work. Really stunning, striking looking a film. And I was really captivated by it. But I say, it's alas though, it is not our film of the week.
Shocker.
But, well, film of the week, I'm going to be honest.
Rock Dog.
Not Rock Dog, no.
Never Rock Dog.
Never Rock Dog. Put the dog away and stop rocking with it out. Right. I'm going to give it to Destination Unknown, but I know that that's not really multiplex fare, and so I will say...
We don't care about the multiplex. Give something out to curse on every now and again.
I don't know. I absolutely think that should be the case.
Right.
But I know that most people over their weekend don't want to go and spend date night watching the Holocaust documentary.
I am
Even
not those
though
people.
You and I would. This is why we're not a very good couple, guys. Our dates would be terrible.
We just stay at home watching Schindler's List.
Exactly. That's our romantic evening again. But no, Gifted. Gifted, I would say, if you want the date night movie for the week, go and see Gifted. Hold hands in the back row, have a good time. Next week, some interesting stuff. We have Hampstead with Diane Keaton going British.
Isn't Brendan Gleeson about as well?
He is indeed.
Amazing.
We have a reissue of The Graduate next week for the 50th anniversary.
Cool.
That's next week.
Nice.
We have The Book of Henry. Trevor Rose back.
Love me some Trevor and some Tremblay.
And some Tremblay, yeah. We have the Netflix film Okja next week.
Can't wait. Is that next week?
That's next week. It's out on Wednesday. We have In This Corner of the World. We have Seasons in Quincy, the 4 portraits of John Berger, and most importantly, the heavy hitter for next week, starring Mr. A-Hop himself, Transformers: The Last Night, but sadly not the last film. So we've got all those to come and more next week off screen. In the meanwhile, this has been a Candy Store production for On Screen. I've been Van Connor.
And I have never enjoyed a Transformers film in my entire life.
We'll be back.
Just show me the way to get out of here, and I'll be on my way.
You've been listening to Off Screen. For more news and reviews, visit onscreenfilm.com.
Shall we cast some extra pods, Ben?
Yes, let us indeed cast said pods.
Okay, so usually we just wax lyrical about film news, and we do some more reviews, and naturally we'll have some more films to review. We've got an extra 4.
Extra 4,
which is crazy. But
one of them is truly terrible, by the way.
Which one will it be? Will it be Nails? Will it be Slight Bay? Will it be A Good Day to Die Hard? Will it be Dying Laughing? I don't know. Place your bets now.
Did you ever see Dennis Pennis back in the 90s when he met Bruce Willis?
Yes.
And he asked Demi Moore. Is it true your husband's going to die hard? And oh god, I missed that guy. Remember when Dennis Kaye was that funny? Paul Kay, sorry. Paul Kay played Dennis, but yes.
He's amazing. It's actually quite fun background in regards to film news. So let's just shoot the proverbial.
Yeah, proverbial brown. Yeah,
proverbial brown.
So we watched the Flatliners trailer.
We've literally just done that.
Yeah, the Flatliners remake, rebootable.
Yeah, sure,
rebootable.
Yeah, rebootable. Yeah, because it is basically the first one.
Yeah, but it is apparently set afterwards.
And your man Kiefer is in it.
Apparently, that's what they're doing with The Craft as well. The Craft is going to go.
Is there going to be a new Craft?
The Craft is going to be a sequel / reboot, so rebootquel as well.
Have they cast that yet?
No, although let's hope for Nina Dobrev, like Flatliners.
She's pretty great.
Because I would actually spend 2 hours watching Nina Dobrev read from the phone book.
Who else would you put in that film? I feel like I would actually just take the 3 principal female characters from the Flatliners and put them in
I feel like if you were going to make The Craft now, you'd basically just get the cast of Pretty Little Liars to
maybe. But with maybe Shailene Woodley.
Yeah, good old Shailene. She needs the work at the minute, it seems. But
did you watch Big Little Lies after?
No, I haven't got around to watching it yet.
Watch it. So thoughts on Flatliners?
Thoughts on Flatliners remake? I think it looks really interesting. I think it teeters the tone they've gone for teeters quite close to Final Destination of all things.
It does, yeah. People are saying because obviously a new film needs to be something meets something else. So they're saying it's Final Destination meets Inception.
Yeah, I could go with that.
Yeah,
I actually think
I can see that.
I think Final Destination needs to come back as a film series, though.
I love those films.
I do as well. They're disposable crap, but they're enjoyable
they
crap.
Are schlocky as hell.
Yeah.
But it's a great concept.
Also, Devon Sawa in that film is just such a convenient shorthand for so many situations.
I like how number 5 ties it back to the first one.
Which, I don't know if I've ever told you this, got ruined for me by my obsessive attention to detail.
Oh, right. So you already called
the telephones that they use all the way through Final Destination 5 are a very specific Motorola StarTAC. And I noticed that they were all using this phone, because I used to love that phone. And I remember watching it thinking, that's so weird that they're all using this retro phone. Why do none of them just Google the events of all the way through? And then when the reveal came, I didn't quite predict the reveal, but I'm sort of thinking, is this set in the past? Because they don't use the internet. And then obviously it happened. I was like, oh, okay, that kind of all adds up now.
That's a thing.
Can I talk about Nails really quickly then?
Very quickly.
Right, which is an 85-minute Irish horror film starring Shauna MacDonald from The Descent. She was the lead in The Descent. Okay. She is, I think she's like a fitness... She's a fitness... She works in the fitness profession somehow. She's like a runner or a trainer or something. She and her husband both. She gets hit by a car right at the beginning of the film. And she spends the entire movie confined to this hospital, where she is then tormented by this malevolent entity who no one else can see, only she can see. And no one believes that this is going on. The only person who seems to be on her side is an orderly at the hospital, played by, would you believe it, Ross Noble. Yeah, your look, yeah.
This makes sense. Sorry, I've been half looking at his Twitter feed for like a while, and that popped up a while ago. Yeah. And I just, do you know when you see a tweet and you kind of like half read it?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Not Ross Noble's first venture into horror, certainly, because he had that film Stitches.
Stitches, where he was an evil clown,
which I liked. I think that was really underrated.
Yeah, I didn't mind that.
It played with the silliness really well. I think we actually did review that. But yeah, so that's it. It's confined to the hospital. There's the sort of Kinderstad-like entity. We have a clip.
I hear you're having some issues. You want to talk about it? He was brought in as a patient. Some of the staff gave him a nickname. Nails.
Nobody believes me.
Deanna is in trouble.
So, as you can hear, a little line for Mr. Noble in there as well. Right, this is really forgettable. I mean, a lot of it hinges on, Shauna MacDonald's always impressive to watch on screen. There's some flashy editing and some good creature effects, but other than that, it's a very by-the-numbers sort of feature. It seems to have spawned... It's one of those that you watch and you do think, quite clearly, the makers of this film just got access to a disused hospital and then crafted a concept and an idea around the fact that they had a disused hospital. Like, we have friends who make movies, and that's the kind of thing that happens all the time. And you very much feel that all the way through this film. There is nothing original whatsoever here. It just hops from one concept to another that's borrowed from infinitely better films. And really, you just come back to the fact that it's edited in such a way that it looks kind of cool and the creature effects work. But other than that, it's pretty much a waste. It's like 85 minutes. This is going to be on Sky Cinema next week. It'll be on Netflix or Amazon Prime next week. I don't see this being... This is one of those that they're putting in cinemas purely kind of for that, so they can say they did. Really, you get a lot of those, but they do one day of a screening and like that. But it's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but it's wasn't even the best film I saw that day.
Is it better than Rock Dog?
Is it better than Rock Dog?
Nothing is.
No, I mean, because... No. The one with Eddie Izzard in, he's always going to get on a higher than the one with Ross Noble in. So, yeah. Just is what it is. But, nothing to shout home about.
Yeah. Shame. Okay, let's talk about another trailer.
Go on,
let's just do this. Black Panther dropped the other day.
Black Panther dropped, yes.
Yeah, because, obviously, Wonder Woman came out. Big success. Great success. Everyone seemed to like it. Marvel gave DC a week to revel in that.
We have a minority too!
Yeah. And then the trailer dropped soon after it. And it was good.
It is really good, isn't it? They've really played up the international espionage angle, which really looks good. Also, Denai Guerrero, I think.
Yes.
Have you heard she's joined Infinity War?
Has she?
She apparently, as of today, she's officially joined Infinity War.
That's cool.
But speaking of joining films, a bit of news in the last 24 hours, Michelle Monaghan.
Yeah, has joined MI6.
MI6, yeah. Has joined Mission Impossible 6.
I hope that's just what it's going to be called.
I hope so, too.
Yeah.
I think they missed a treat last time not calling it MI5.
MI5, yeah.
But,
great title, though.
Yeah. But anyway, no, Michelle Monaghan's coming back, which means we're finally going to get an answer to what the hell was going on with that storyline in this series, because...
The last time we saw her was at the end of number 4.
End of Ghost Protocol.
And Tom Cruise was just kind of just looking at her.
I think the idea was that she had gone into hiding
and he was
for
just
protection.
he's like keeping tabs on her just to make sure that
there was
it's all
some
fine.
background storyline that someone had tried to kill them.
Yeah, well, in 3, obviously she is a big part in number 3,
yeah.
and her well-being is put under pressure.
Indeed.
So she goes into hiding on witness protection, and Ethan Hunt is like, let's break up for your own good.
It's not you, it's me, and the people that want to kill me.
That's who it is.
That old chestnut. We've all been dumped for that reason.
Yeah, I don't know if she's going to be a particularly big part of this film. However, Kristen McCoy has said that this film is going to be more about Ethan Hunt as a person.
Yes.
It's going to be like, we're going to find out who he is.
Well, we don't know anything about him, do we?
Not really.
No. 6 movies down.
He's a spy.
Yeah, we know
He's a spy.
nothing
He
of
likes
this
to
guy.
run. He likes to climb.
And occasionally he has barbecues with friends. With J.J. Abrams as friends.
But not as many as Dom Toretto.
No, Dom Toretto is the king of backyard barbecues.
There was not a Corona in sight. Those Mission Impossible films.
Do you think Dominic Toretto has ever eaten food made in an oven? An indoor oven? I don't think he has.
No, I think he's had food from an oven, but only like an outdoor pizza oven.
Yeah. I feel like...
Yeah, that's the closest to an oven he's ever
I
got.
feel like if his food isn't prepared outdoors, Dominic Toretto won't eat it.
I think that's just Vin. I don't think that's
just Vin Diesel. Right, from something cheerful then, let me talk about something far less cheerful. Let me talk about Slack Bay, which is this turn-of-the-century set, French bonkers comedy, farcical surrealist comedy from Bruno Dumont. The big name star here is Juliette Binoche, who turns up as a sort of big name addition to the cast about halfway through. It is set in 1910 in Slack Bay. It is literally an area where a rich family are coming to stay at their house by the bay, and they are arriving just as there's a series of disappearances in the area which are being perpetrated by one of the serfs. And there's different stories. So you've got the rich family and their internal arguments. You've got the bumbling police officers who are investigating the disappearances, and you've got Maloute, who the film is actually named for in French, who is the serf who is actually perpetrating these murders that he's staging as disappearances. It is all over the shop. It is a complete mess. It tries for surrealist ideals when it can't come up with a way to make itself interesting, and every time it threatens to actually engage you, it wanders equally off the course. It's a complete waste of time. It is one of those, a little bit of surreal goes a long way. This is the film that very much proves that. And yeah, I cannot for the life of me try and figure out what the central thought behind it all was. It's just madcap ideas that it plays like a Wes Anderson movie that has been stripped of any creative discipline whatsoever. And you sit there, you never thought you'd say it, but you sit there and you think, wow, I almost long for the normality of a Wes Anderson movie. And again, not something I ever thought I'd say aloud, but
something I say on a daily basis.
Exactly, yeah.
Whilst staring directly into the centre of a mirror.
With hipster glasses on.
Whilst wearing giant oversized aviator glasses.
Exactly.
Whilst listening to Crosby, Stills and Nash.
Indeed, as one does.
Yeah. Just like Luke Wilson.
By the way, have you seen Free Fire yet? Because I noticed this is coming out shortly, isn't it?
I tried to watch it the other day, and something wasn't working with the copy that I procured. Okay. So I will watch it when it comes out on the Blu-ray. But no, I've sadly not seen it. It kind of passed me by, unfortunately. I was busy when it was out.
Well,
it's a shame.
I have some film news for you.
Go on, then I'll counter you with some film news, sir.
Okay, well, this is involving one of your favourite boys. This is Mr. Seiler.
Oh, RJ.
RJ. He has joined the cast of the Two Live Crew biopic, which is not a biopic I even knew we were getting. Was there a market for this?
No, I seem to think that Straight Outta Compton has opened up the floodgates.
It kind of has, yeah. So he's going to be in the Two Live Crew movie. This is
cool. What was their big hit?
Me So Horny.
Right.
Me so horny, me so horny.
There it is.
Yeah, and that is as close as I'm getting to singing on this one. There is a title for it. I forget. Let me pull this up here.
Plain Nana Cherry.
Yeah, Plain Nana Cherry next.
Yeah. One
of the two songs, please. But yeah, I'm glad RJ Seiler's getting that role though. I think because. Well, the film's called The Book of Luke, by the way. It's he's actually going to play Luther Campbell, so he's playing the front man.
Right.
He is the lead, so this is going to be interesting. But he was renowned as being the king of dirty rap, Luther Campbell.
I always wondered Like,
who was the king?
Because I missed that particular coronation.
Well, the weird thing is, Two Live Crew do have a bizarre place in music history. Something that actually happens outside of their actual music, which was they actually took a court case, a copyright infringement court case that had been filed against them, all the way to the US Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court filed in their favour. Actually ruled in their favour. So Two Live Crew actually won at the US Supreme Court, and it was a copyright case over sampling, which obviously became a really big thing in the early 90s. And in the case of Two Live Crew, it was because they had sampled Oh Pretty Woman by Roy Orbison. Yeah, and I can see the disdain on your face right there. But, yeah, they won that case, and they wound up setting the precedent for sampling in music. So, but I think that discussion really started with Vanilla Ice. That was the...
Well, I wouldn't say that it started with Vanilla Ice, but definitely...
It came
to a mainstream head, shall we say.
Yeah, exactly. In the pop, in the tabloids. And
obviously, in New York in the 80s, that's kind of where... That's where it kicked off.
A lot of hip hop. I mean, it does come from hip hop more than any other.
Grandmaster Flash and all that.
But it was the overnight success of Vanilla Ice that really brought that started to bring that to a head, I think. But so interesting development to come there, I think.
Yeah. Did you know that we're going to be treated to a Snowpiercer TV show?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I did, and it's going to star someone quite notable, I believe.
Well, the lead is going to be David Diggs from Hamilton.
That was it. I was just saying, why do I know him?
Blackish, and he's in The Get Down as well.
Is he in Blackish? Who is he in Blackish?
He plays Rainbow's brother.
Oh, him!
Yeah, he doesn't come into it until, I think it's like season 3.
I am midway through season 3 of Blackish.
Oh, right, yeah.
I love Blackish.
Oh, are you fully in now?
I'm fully into Blackish. I love Blackish. Dion Cole is my favourite character in that show. That's Charlie. But also, I love
Charles.
Yeah, I love Diane.
Diane.
And her antagonistic relationship with Charlie.
Just Jack and Diane are incredible.
Diane. Charles.
I love Junior as well.
Yeah, he's got that kind of JD role in a weird way. That sort of nerdy, effeminate.
And actually, I'll fully get on board with that because in
it's
a way,
it is that JD type characterization, isn't it?
But he goes further because, in a way, his dad kind of has a bit of a Dr. Cox-like relationship. He's always a bit mean.
But I just think the last episode I've watched of it so far is the pranking episode where they actually fake Dion Cole's death and amuse the hell out of Diane, who literally sits at his funeral smiling.
Yeah,
which
I remember that.
Just had me in stitches. It is so good. I love Lawrence Fishburne in that show.
Yeah, I love how he just periodically drops out and then shows up again. And then the reason for him not being there is he was in Vegas for a couple of weeks. He was lost. And
the thing with Blackish that I really love is you do sit there and think this could all be taken in completely the wrong context if it didn't have an actor the caliber of Lawrence Fishburne turn up to play that otherwise quite stock role and give it some gravitas and actually anchor the whole show.
Yeah.
But I really love it. Thank you for recommending that. I'm a big fan.
Not a problem. You have given many a show to me over the years.
So back to Snowpiercer, sorry.
Back to this, brings us back around. David Diggs, he's going to be the lead in that. I don't think he's playing the character that Chris Evans was. I think it's...
No, I think they are, because you can pretty much replace a lot of the characters as long as you keep the story
intact. You keep the story and what's going on. But, recently Jennifer Connelly has been signed up to appear as well, which is pretty cool.
She's going to be the voice of the train, isn't she?
Yeah.
The first-class passenger who is the voice of the train.
Yeah.
Can I just point out, though, this film has still not been released in the UK.
Maybe this will actually happen. Now that the show
we have the graphic novels, by the way, on the shelf there.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
We should just read those and not say anything.
Read them out.
Yeah.
But, so I have the 2 volumes of Le Transpiège on the shelf.
I would like to read them, actually.
Very, very good. A lot more brutal than the film, even, if you can imagine such a thing.
Right.
I mean, literally opens with a graphic suicide.
Yeah.
But I love the film so much.
I've only seen the film once, actually. I need to. I'm gonna watch that again.
Back before Netflix clamped down on the geo-blocking thing, when you could still access US Netflix, I did watch Snowpiercer when it got added to US Netflix.
As did I. Actually, that's how I first saw it.
And,
the only time I've seen it.
Yeah, you can actually get a really nice French Steelbook Blu-ray.
I've seen
for I think about £18.
Right.
So, but it comes in a really lovely chrome box. And if you've not seen Snowpiercer is one of my favourite movies ever.
Would you go as far as to say that, really?
I would genuinely... It is in my top 10 of all time
It's
movies.
one of my favourites from the last few years. Certainly, top 3 of the year that came
I think it goes without saying that it is the greatest film to never get released in this country. But
there's got to be a list somewhere.
there'll be a list. I'm sure there will
I've
be.
got to check that out.
But for my money, it's the greatest film that's never been released in this country.
Yeah, the series, it comes from Scott Derrickson. He's going to be
Yeah,
directing
I
the
heard
pilot.
that.
And I think he's kind of the one that's been spearheading the project.
I know he's signed on as a producer of the series as well.
Yeah, and then the showrunner's a guy called Josh Friedman.
Josh Friedman, who has a caliber in like 90s network TV shows. If I'm not mistaken, I think Josh Friedman comes from Lois and Clark of all things.
So you saying there's a chance that we may get TV's Dean Cain on this train?
We can only dream.
We can just call it the Dean Cain train.
We can only. Oh man, the Cain train.
The Cain train.
Hey, come on! If Mr. Wilfred was played by Dean Cain, you would love that.
I would.
What happens if the engine stops? We all freeze and die. Oh
yeah.
God!
Just go watch it if you've never seen it.
Snowpiercer. Find pay the 18 quid.
Why are you listening to us when you could be watching?
Go on Amazon, pay the 18 quid, get the French Steelbook Blu-ray. I promise, Snowpiercer is amazing. My sister, who has the worst taste in films imaginable, actually loves Snowpiercer. She can't remember the title of it. She refers to it as That Train Movie.
That Train Movie.
Yeah.
Did you get it confused with Train to Busan?
No, Under Siege 2.
Which I've still not seen. I have seen Under Siege 2. You know I've seen Under Siege 2.
Under Siege 2, Dark Territory.
Was that really the subtitle?
Yes. Its subtitle is Dark Territory.
He's still a chef, and this time Katherine Heigl's there.
Yeah, there's a 15-year-old Katherine Heigl for some reason.
So weird.
Yeah. But, okay, so, A Good Day to Die. Let's talk about A Good Day to Die.
So, is Bruce Willis in this?
Bruce Willis is not in this. This is a documentary. It is a documentary about
Die Hard 5.
about Die Hard 5 and everything that went wrong with Die Hard 5, starting with the idea to make Die Hard 5.
Yeah, it begins when Jai Courtney's parents meet.
Exactly that. Yeah. Right, so Good Day to Die is a documentary about war photographers. It has the subtitle Hokahei, which refers to a tattoo that our central figure actually has, Jason Howe, has on his arm. It's basically the story of Jason Howe, and his travels, his exploits, how he cut his teeth in one conflict before moving on to the next, and how he'd covered things in Colombia, for instance, and then went over to Iraq and found it was a very different way of doing things. And it's a film that it outstays its welcome a little bit because I don't think there's quite enough material to sustain the length it has. I mean, it clocks in at just under 90 minutes. You do feel like this was a one-off TV 1 hour documentary, like a 45-minute thing on Channel 4, 45 minutes plus adverts. Feels very much like something like a Channel 4 Dispatches kind of a presentation, Channel 4 Dispatches, The War Photographer.
Right.
It feels like one of those. It is slightly overextended for its feature runtime. I think it will actually wind up getting cut down and put into a format like that, something like BBC Storyville or something along those lines. It's interesting enough. I just think there's not enough material to sustain the runtime. There are tragic stories in there, naturally. There's some amusing stories, camaraderie and things like that. But you do kind of come away from it thinking, wow, that's just really so much more of an effort than it needed to be. And you kind of wish they just condensed it a little bit. We don't know why. We're inundated with documentaries this week. Because the next review, and the last review we've got to do, is Dying Laughing. That's a documentary as well.
Well, it's fitting because DocFest.
It's
just been and gone, so it's kind of tied in.
Yes. Good to know.
Almost as if it was planned.
I know, imagine that. Well, actually, funnily enough, I turned up for the press show of Whitney, and the head of PR for Dogwolf is a woman named Young Ka, and a lovely woman, and she wasn't there for a change. I was like, where's Young? She's in Sheffield. I went, I've just come from Sheffield.
I demand to see her.
I've just come from Sheffield. Present me with Young immediately.
Would you like to know why I don't like Whitney Houston?
Oh, yes, please tell me now why you don't like Whitney Houston.
Okay, when I was a boy of 8 years old, for some reason...
When I was 8 years old, there was a Whitney Houston song.
I went to see Whitney Houston...
Live?
Well...
Really?
That was the plan. Yeah, my mum, for some reason, I really don't know why to this day, but she was going with her friends to see Whitney Houston, and also she had a spare ticket and just couldn't find a babysitter or whatever.
An 8-year-old
Took an 8-year-old to go see Whitney Houston.
Okay.
Fair enough. Along we went to the show. The time came where she was supposed to be on stage.
Mm-hmm.
Whitney did not appear. Half an hour went by.
Yeah.
Still no Whitney.
Okay.
An hour and a half later, like after like a 10,000 people strong like crowd of...
Where was this, by the way?
Sheffield Arena.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a lot of angry Yorkshire people doing like a really slow... for like an hour. After like an hour and a half, she waltzes on stage.
Yeah.
Plays for about 40 minutes, and then waltzes off stage.
Wow.
And the reason for her tardiness was because she was having a Chinese.
You're kidding.
She had, her people had ordered a Chinese meal from her favourite London Chinese restaurant to be flown to Sheffield for her. And she was an hour and a half late.
Wow.
Yeah. And because I remember, like, my mum and my mum's friends being so angry about it, I then, like, inherited some of that anger. And was always just like,
you know what's really strange?
Always late.
That sort of behaviour actually really doesn't jive with the personality that gets depicted in the documentary.
Really,
it's very strange. The personality in the documentary is actually it would present her as being actually at her core quite a fun-loving girl, and a lot more street than she was given credit for, which again doesn't quite jive with the polished, preened princess that we see you see on talk shows and things. But yeah, she did love food though. That gets made abundantly clear.
That's it. Is there any mention of her eating like a spring roll?
No, nothing like that. It's not like she talks to camera whilst munching on a spring roll.
She's got some egg foo young in her face. I didn't know. Actually, speaking of the bodyguard, Lawrence Kasdan wrote it.
Yes, he did. He also produced it. Yeah, he produced as well.
That's crazy.
Mick Jackson, who directed it, he directed something recently, didn't he?
Did he?
Can't remember what it was.
I'm sorry, Mick Jackson.
Yeah, but... God. Right, it's a real music fest this week on this show, isn't it? Yeah. Between Rock Dog, Whitney Houston, and all the little puns, we're really bringing it home.
Oh my God, this guy directed my childhood.
Did he? What did he direct?
He directed Volcano.
That was it. But he directed something else recently. We reviewed it in the last 2 months.
Denial.
Denial. There you go. That was it. He directed Denial. I knew it was something from the last couple of months.
That's crazy.
Do you not remember
LA Story?
When we reviewed Denial, I remember telling you, it's from the director of Volcano, and then you responded with, oh my God, I love Volcano.
Yeah, I will always say that.
Oh, yeah, clearly.
I love Volcano. The coast is toast.
Takes a geological event to heat 1 million gallons of water in 24 hours.
I like to think that because of Volcano, that's what made Paul Giamatti want to be an actor.
Yeah, I feel like there needs to be
this film is missing me.
I feel like there needs to be a prequel movie to San Andreas in which Paul Giamatti's impressionable young boy character was in a movie theatre watching Volcano, saying, that's what I need to do with my life. Yeah. Flashback scenes for the sequel. Me. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And then on the way, I was like, who should we get to see the movie? Everybody.
Yeah. That's and then Gary Oldman comes up and says, everybody. Yeah. Actually, let's tie it into some disaster film news. But we've got news. Yeah. Okay. This has literally just come out. Rampage with Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Yeah. He just tweeted the official release date. It's a lot sooner than I thought it was going to be.
When is it?
It is April 20th.
Next year? Oh, hell yes.
Yeah. They're in the middle of filming it right now. He's just posted a picture of himself.
He keeps putting pictures online.
Looking big.
I've seen a picture of him and Naomi Harris running for something.
It's a good cast, to be fair.
It's got my boy Jeffrey Dean Morgan in it.
It's got Jim Manganiello in it as well.
It has, but let's focus on Jeffrey Dean Morgan because we all know that Negan's the man. Yeah.
But, yeah, okay. I mean, who are you talking to? Are you talking to the 4 people that are still watching Walking Dead? Before people have yet to discover American Gods.
Well, there is that. I've not got past episode 3 of that, I don't think, yet.
Actually, I've only watched the first 2, but I am enjoying it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's really something. It is really, really something. Yeah. I've got to give it that.
Yeah.
And I like Calvin from Hollyoaks an awful lot more than I thought I would. So,
yeah, that's
I can't remember his name. Ricky Whittle, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it? Moon something?
Moon Shadow?
I think it's Moon Shadow.
Something like that.
Oh, are we just getting confused with the song?
I don't know. I absolutely don't know. Let me do a review of Dying Laughing then, because this is actually something that would intrigue you, I think. Dying Laughing is a documentary about the practice of stand-up comedy.
Ooh.
Right. It is a black and white shot documentary that is largely just talking heads with famous comedians. And from both sides of the Atlantic as well. So we're talking about, you get your Jerry Seinfelds, but you also get Frank Skinner. You get your Kevin Hart. You also get Frankie Boyle. You know, you get Amy Schumer. You also get Jason Manford. And it is, from both sides of the Atlantic, a look at the practice of coming up in the world of stand-up comedy, about how you start out, about the practice, the first set you do, about how that goes, about engaging with the audience, about dealing with hecklers, about basically the dealing with the success that can come about it, and basically looking at the ins and outs of the day-to-day lives of how you go about it. Do you have to be funny all the time? How does the process of writing jokes work? We have a clip.
You feel the mood of the room. It's just this cement block. And I just left that night and I was devastated.
There was about 6 people because it was raining and I just died on my ass, and some guy yelled something like "go back to school" or something. It was something really flimsy like that. Anyway, in the rain, we drove back and my dad went, "Yeah, well, you're good at a lot of different things. This probably isn't a thing for you, but if you enjoy it as some type of hobby, then it can't hurt, really. You know, it could hurt your self-esteem, sure." The
idea in theory is really good, but it comes very close to... Did you ever see Misery Loves Comedy a few years ago?
Was that the Kevin Pollak one?
That was Kevin Pollak directed it, yeah.
Yeah, I really like... Actually, I watched that about a month ago.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, strangely enough.
Was it on Netflix or something in the end?
Yeah, it remains on Netflix.
Oh, right.
That's where I watched it.
I remember they sent me a screening link for it years ago and asked, would you mind reviewing this? I was like, it's a stand-up movie. Of course I'll review it. I love stand-up.
Yeah.
But the problem is Misery Loves Comedy had a very specific remit, which was to address the link between comedians and depression. This is a lot looser an affair. This is very much anecdotes. This is kind of... this is just, stories of as and when. So odds are whoever your favourite comedian is probably going to be in this.
Yep.
Who are your favourite comedians anyway?
I have to have... separate lists for American ones and UK ones. So
they are all in this film together. Say the British ones.
Reginald D. Hunter, American ones
doesn't appear.
Shame. British ones, Ross Noble, Dylan Moran.
Ross Noble does appear, I think.
Does he? Yeah. Dylan Moran, Bill Bailey,
doesn't.
Louis C.K.
Strangely doesn't, actually.
I'm really hitting out here, aren't I?
Yeah. It is weird, isn't it, that you get Jerry Seinfeld and Chris Rock.
I was going to say,
but no Louis C.K.
You get, obviously. Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock. Chris Rock was touring next year.
Oh,
he's playing Leeds.
Road trip.
Yeah. That's going down. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm a big stand-up comedy fan.
What was the thing? Because it's arrived on Netflix this week. Oh, hello. You went to see that on your honeymoon, didn't you?
And I watched the Netflix show yesterday.
Oh, okay. Right, so it's a physical recording of the actual stage show.
Of the actual Broadway show, yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so it's essentially...
You said it was improvised or something?
It's partly improvised.
So it would have been different from what you saw?
It was fairly similar, because it's basically about these two 70-year-old guys that live in the West Side.
But they're played by 30-year-olds.
Played by two 30-year-old Jewish comedians, but the characters they play are not Jewish, they just look Jewish.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole joke is like most 70-year-old men, they're not women or Jewish, but when they get 70, they're somehow both.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, and then...
Who are the actors in it?
John Mulaney and Nick Kroll.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you did tell
me. The setup is it's like a play within this play.
Okay.
So they've written a play and they're telling you about the play and then they do the play in front of you.
Would I enjoy it to watch, you think?
I think you would love it.
Okay, I'll give it a watch.
And there's a special guest in it as well.
It's called Oh Hello on Broadway,
It's called Oh Hello on Broadway.
Okay, right.
On Netflix.
I'll give that a look. But I think everyone's going to be sparking up the Netflix free trial offer this next week for Oakja. So
definitely.
I can't wait from the director of Snowpiercer.
Have you seen those character posters?
Yes.
Those are some of the best character posters I think I've ever seen.
I can't
They're
wait.
amazing.
But that's really something.
Yeah, man.
But anyway, so film news. One last bit we've got. O'Shea Jackson Jr.?
Yes.
Little Ice Cube.
Little Ice Cube. what we've got to come up with a better name of that.
Shaved Ice?
Shaved Ice.
Crushed Ice. Crushed Ice. Crushed ice. So Ice Cube, Crushed Ice. Actually, no, technically he could just be water, couldn't he?
He'd just be water.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyway, he's doing the Doc Ellis biopic, which is cleverly just going to be called Doc. Doc Ellis was the Pirates pitcher, Major League Baseball pitcher for the Pirates. Who? Do you know the story?
No.
He famously just one day came out and said, "I have literally never played a game sober."
Really?
Yeah. And he said, it's literally never happened. I have never played a single game.
I am always drunk.
Yeah. And he wound up going into treatment for alcohol and substance abuse, and then decided to dedicate the rest of his life to helping athletes deal with their own addictions. So,
that's cool.
Yeah. And you see the picture of the guy. You look up a picture of Doc Ellis. He looks exactly like O'Shea Jackson Jr.
Doc Ellis.
Doc Ellis. But he looks exactly...
Oh, man.
Yeah, looks like O'Shea Jackson, doesn't he?
Well, he looks like young Ice Cube. which is O'Shea Jackson.
Also looks like O'Shea Jackson.
Yeah. Man, I really need to watch Straight Outta Compton again.
I see. I rewatched it about 9 months, I think, ago, when it hit home release.
Great Paul Giamatti as well.
I know. Paul Giamatti's not going to be satisfied until he has screwed over every musician in history.
Yeah, and then told everyone about every single natural disaster or upcoming natural disaster.
Do you know what? There is a sequel development to San Andreas. There's been no word on Paul Giamatti returning. I refuse to see a San Andreas sequel if he's not in it.
I think he is actually the villain. I think it's a hurricane voiced by Paul Giamatti.
Right, you know when they were doing all those reshoots on Geostorm? I'm just hoping that one of them was to include Paul Giamatti.
That's why it didn't work.
That's why it didn't work. Dean Devlin just looked at it and said,
it's missing Paul Giamatti.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, he's great. Should we go out on some Nicolas Cage news?
Give us some Nicolas Cage news, and then you cue it up, because it's you cue up the moment of, because, you've been away. It's your privilege.
It is my Nicolas Cage given right. He is signed on to star in a film set in the 80s, a thriller. An 80s thriller.
I heard about this, yeah.
It is called Mandy, and no, it's not based on
the Barry Manilow song.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Which is a shame, because if anyone's going to play Barry Manilow, it's Nicolas Cage.
By the way, when you were away, he signed on for 2 movies in which he takes on ruthless drug lords. Literally 2 movies.
I smell shared universe.
Yeah, well, in the first one, but get this, by the way, in one of them, he plays a Peruvian coffee farmer.
Sure.
Yeah, because Nicolas Cage, why not? Huh?
Well, Mandy, it's set in 1983. It will see Nicolas Cage as a broken man, because he's always a broken man. That's why he had to sell all his castles. We'll see Cage as a broken man, braving the wilderness in order to hunt a religious sect who brutally murdered the love of his life, and is described as being a surrealist heavy metal soaked story of battle axes and demon bikers.
What?
Give it me now.
Yeah, sign me up.
Give it me now.
Although I want to point out that we did think Outcast sounded like a good movie in theory, so...
I mean, it gave us some great sound bites, if anything else.
Yeah, and then there was Army of One.
Drink up, lad.
What brings you here, lad? Oh, God, that movie was
Army
awful.
of One, yeah, just...
Nicolas Cage teams up with God. Wow.
So good. It is beginning to film this summer in Belgium.
Of course it is.
Yeah. He always just films in Europe.
Random places, doesn't he? Yeah.
It's crazy. Elijah Wood is going to be...
Yes, Elijah Wood's a producer on it, because it's out through that... is it Spectrevision? That label that he set up.
Yeah.
And...
Johansson is going to compose music for it. That is some pedigree to get.
That is, isn't it? Johan Johansson did... was it Sicario?
Sicario, Fear of Everything. I think he did Arrival.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He absolutely did, yes. And because we can't say
really
nice enough things about Arrival.
No, we can't. We
cannot.
That film.
And it was so good, wasn't it?
Give me more Denis.
Yeah.
Give me some Denis.
No. Well, it's not long. It's only like 4 months until Blade Runner. So
Blade Runner 2049.
Exactly. So we've got that to look forward to. Anyway, so that kind of fills our week, really.
Yeah.
In which case...
Here it is, your moment of Cage.
This is the Merlin Circle. It focuses your energy, helps you master new spells. It is where you will learn the art. Once you enter, there is no going back.
So I should probably pee first?